up, guys? Welcome to episode 2. This is Ozzy with my cousin,
Mr. Blades.
And today we're going to talk about some spooky spooks. What do we have today, man?
The trial of Arne Johnson, better known as the Devil Made Me Do It case.
Hey, now that you mentioned that, unofficially, if you guys get a chance, pick up a bottle of Devil's River coffee bourbon. This shit smacks. We finished the bottle today before we started the recording, and let me tell you, we're both awake and a little tipsy.
Little bit.
Pretty good stuff.
Little bit.
Anyway, we're gonna cover a couple of things today in this case. It's actually what inspired the new Conjuring movie, which I think it's gonna come out next summer. It's supposed to come out this year, but COVID and everything like that kind of held them back. But a couple of fun facts from this.
We're going to do a little mini rundown of what actually happened in the true story of the Arne Johnson case.
Yeah, what basically inspired The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It film. Happened back in Brookfield, Connecticut. A lot of things that happened.
A lot of it's like East Coast for some reason.
Yeah. I'm always thinking that's where the first settlements were.
13 colonies.
Salem witch trials, stuff like that. Maybe there's something to do with that. I don't know, man. Something like that. But, so back in 1981, Arne Johnson stabbed his landlord, Alan Bono, with a 5-inch pocket knife. And this actually became a lot of firsts back in the day for this very small, quiet community back in Brookfield. This actually was the first ever recorded murder in the 193-year history of that town. Back then in 81 at least. It was the first ever murder recorded in that community. So definitely got a lot of attention. Small town, everybody basically knew everybody, kind of deal. And not only was it the first ever murder recorded in the town, it was also the first ever, the trial that went for some kind of demonic possession. So, a lot of controversy with this case back in the day,
And obviously the Warrens were involved in this. Obviously, they're making a movie about this.
Yeah, and, it's weird because, we talk about Arne Cheyenne Johnson, who was the person convicted. He eventually got convicted of a murder.
Was he convicted for first degree?
Yeah, it was a first
degree manslaughter.
Yeah, something like that. Let me see. I got that right here. But the way that Arne got involved in it, he was 19 at the time. And the way that he got involved was his would-be little brother-in-law, if you will, his fiance's little brother at the time, David Glatzel, was actually possessed, allegedly. This boy, 11 years old. Story goes that they were all trying to move into this new house and everything. And when they were trying to move into the house, little boy was 11 at the time. He actually had some kind of apparition of an old man. Old man basically said, hey, if you guys move in here, I'm gonna wreck your shit. You know what I mean? So he's gonna hurt his family and whatnot. And I mean, shit. Little boy got a little scared. Told his family about it. Sister and fiance were like, yeah, that's gonna be a big no for us. And they decided to not move forward with moving into this house.
Oh, so this happened before they moved into the new house.
Yeah. The thing is that they had also told the girl's mom, like, hey, move in with us and stuff. And so eventually they moved into the house. And that's when things started to go south, you know. Little boy got possessed, started getting, you know, violent, getting aggressive. Just got a little out of hand. And, you know, when the Warrens got involved, they got called in by Father Dennis from the St. Joseph's Parish. He was on his way out to Ireland at the time. I guess he got called for another thing. So he got them involved, and then they kind of went and assessed the situation, and they determined that indeed little David was possessed.
So the Warrens and the priest,
yeah,
said, yeah, he's possessed.
Yeah, so they started doing a bunch of exorcisms. You know, the first exorcism took place at the St. Joseph's Parish. You know, they kind of started doing that. So the family's experience with this was that around 11 p.m., you know, that's when these episodes would begin for young David. You know, he would start getting all violent and start throwing tantrums, start throwing things, start cursing. You know, it would just get out of hand. Start convulsing. And basically this would go on all night until, you know, sunrise. You know, according to Ed Warren, in an interview that they did back in the 80s. And we'll go ahead and
we'll link it.
And yeah, we'll link up that interview with Ed and Lorraine Warren. You know, during one of the exorcisms, you know, this thing got so out of hand that the total of 6 priests were involved at a time. Damn. Like, all 6 priests were in the room. Wow. And 3 of them were actually straight from the Vatican.
Wow.
So, I mean, yeah, it was a pretty big deal. You know what I mean? During this whole, I guess, investigation, exorcism, you know, process, they determined that young David was actually possessed by not 1, but 42 demons. So, I mean, shit got real quick. You know, and basically, you know, this young boy was just terrorized, and he was terrorizing his family in turn, with everything going on, kind of being aggressive, try to kill mom, try to kill his grandma at one point. Like, it was just getting out of hand. So obviously the exorcisms were kind of, you know, they're exhausting. According to Ed and Lorraine Warren, I mean, shit, they would go all night doing these exorcisms.
I was reading that Lorraine Warren actually witnessed a black mist and, like, materialized next to David at one point.
Yeah, and that was at the beginning of the whole investigation when Father Dennis, first got the Warrens involved. Obviously, they go and do their thing to kind of assess what's going on. And yeah, you know, she said that she saw a black mist attached to young David at a first glance, you know, when they first arrived to assess the situation. Now, this was all having to do with this young boy and everything like that. And here comes Arne Johnson, who is David's sister's fiance. Real stand-up guy from accounts from everybody, you know, that came forward to give their testimony on the man, you know. Very nice dude. Very polite. Always just, yes, ma'am, yes, sir. Just all-American boy. And he comes into one of the exorcisms, and he basically challenges, taunts these demons and tells them, hey, you know what? Take me instead. Leave this little boy alone. Leave my buddy alone. And take me. So that was the mistake he made, and that's what happened later on, is he became possessed himself, which is what gives,
Johnson.
Yeah.
Or what's his name? Johnson.
Yeah. Arne Johnson. Yeah, that's how he became the infamous Devil Made Me Do It trial. He became possessed from one of those exorcism sessions where he basically told the demons, you know what, take me and leave young David alone. So what ended up happening here was, back in 1981, he was out with his fiance and their landlord, Alan Bono. They were out hitting the town, having some drinks, having some food, hanging out. And I guess they got into some kind of argument, some words were exchanged, things escalated. And February 16th, 1981, Arne Johnson stabbed his landlord, Alan Bono, to death with a 5-inch pocket knife. And again, this was the first ever recorded murder in the Brookfield in 193 years of existence.
Is there anything said on how many times he was stabbed?
Yeah, he stabbed him. He stabbed him a number. I think it's like 10 or 12 times in the chest and in the stomach area. Now, the weird thing, and this is what everybody's kind of like, this is what created so much controversy, is Arne Johnson was a regular teenager. He was 19 at the time.
Mm-hmm.
He had no criminal record, nothing that would say, hey, he's going to be a murderer, nothing that, guy was like a straight arrow before all this happened. You know what I mean? So it was just crazy that this even happened, And like I said, it all goes back to that summer before 1981. Summer of 1980 is when David, Debbie's brother, who's his fiance, his little brother, started saying, hey, you know what, I'm seeing this man with big black eyes, a thin face, animal features like jagged teeth, pointed ears, horns and hooves, like the whole nine. Like yeah. It was scary for this kid, you know what I mean? So again, it was just Arne trying to be a stand-up guy, challenging these demons, and they ended up possessing him allegedly.
I heard the whole time he was stabbing him, Arne was growling like an animal.
Yeah, he like blacked out, started growling, making animal noises, and stuff like that. I mean, I don't know. It's crazy. I mean, nowadays you plead insanity and all that other stuff, and I don't know. Just back in the day, saying, hey, I was possessed. Like, shit, how do you even, how do you wrap your head around that? You know what I mean?
So when Johnson killed Bono, the Warrens had already been involved with the family.
Yeah. The Warrens had already come and gone.
So is that why Lorraine Warren, the day after the murder, is that why Lorraine Warren told the Brookfield police that Johnson was possessed?
Yeah, well,
and that was the reason why he committed the crime.
Yeah, I mean, the Warrens had already told the police prior to all of this, during the whole exorcisms, basically, hey, you know what, this is getting out of hand, it's getting violent, it's going to escalate, and, they did their part.
And for those listening that don't know who Ed and Lorraine Warren is, they're famous demonologists from Connecticut, who recently they've been making a bunch of movies from them. I mean, they were involved in the Amityville murders, the Annabelle doll, all those stories. It was them involved. They were the ones investigating it and getting, priests involved and all that.
Yeah. I mean, after the murder and everything, Johnson's attorney, Martin Minella, he tried his best to enter the plea of not guilty by reason of demonic possession. He even planned to subpoena the priest who allegedly attended the exorcism, just kind of...
And the Warrens.
Yeah, just everybody who was involved.
And this was the first case in the U.S. to, actually involve...
this was the first case ever in the U.S. to go to court, to trial, that basically involved a demonic possession and stuff like that. So, I mean, you can imagine back in the 80s, and if it's the first time, I mean, you can imagine just from a judge's perspective, you don't want to be the judge that, said, oh, okay, cool, you were possessed. So I guess, a lot of things played out here.
I mean, when it comes to spiritual things and stuff like this, I mean, it's going to be difficult in court, it's just, you're not, this stuff doesn't happen every other day, so,
Yeah, exactly. So, it was actually Judge Robert Callahan who ultimately rejected Minella's plea. He argued that such a defense would be impossible to prove, and that any testimony on the matter was unscientific and thus irrelevant. Which, again,
it makes sense.
Yeah, because you're in a court of law.
We trial people over, facts and...
Yeah.
And actual proof.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's just a tough time for Arne, man. He's just trying to be a nice guy. It's just, I don't know, man.
And this went to Supreme Court, huh?
Yeah, it was, he was eventually convicted. But, after the judge pretty much said, hey, you can't, we're not going to be able to admit, or it's inadmissible for you to say that it's, possession. His legal team said, you know what, well, we're going to go with the second best thing, which is, self-defense. Ultimately, Arne was convicted of a first-degree manslaughter on November 24th, 1981, and sentenced to 10 to 20 years in prison. He only served about 5 years.
That's crazy.
Yeah, like I said, before this, by all accounts, Arne Johnson was a stand-up guy. He never had a criminal record before this, He ended up marrying his fiancée while he was in prison and stuff like that, and I don't know. It's one of those things. They refer to the entity possessing the little brother as the beast. And I don't know. There's been a couple of things that have happened. Even there was obviously, the Warrens. They've written books. They've done movies. You all know the Conjuring movies and stuff like that. And actually, the family of David Glatzel, the older brother, I suppose, he actually sued them after a book was released.
So after this, David was fine.
Yeah. I mean, everything was. I mean, he was good to go. You know what I mean? He was good. I mean, which kind of leads you to believe, like, you have this young boy who says that he sees this apparition and that,
Possessed by 43 demons.
yeah, you know, the whole nine, and then all of a sudden,
So after, I mean, supposedly after whatever was in him went into Arne, he was cured of this stuff.
yeah,
And I mean, I also read that the reason why they went with self-defense during the trial was because after their night of drinking, Mr. Bono, I mean, he was really intoxicated, and he took Mary and refused to let her go. And they're saying that that's why Arne attacked Mr. Bono.
yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things that, you know, you can't. The defense was basically made around the whole, hey, it was the devil made me do it, so to speak, and everything like that. And after the judge said no, you can't use that, you know, they had to say, hey, well, shit, you know, self-defense. This guy came at him, and he just had to defend himself. And I mean, the thing is that they even say that Arne kind of blacked out, you know.
Yeah, and I mean, it's kind of hard
a couple of hours.
to like, oh, well, was he possessed or was he just that pissed drunk that he blacked out?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't know, you know, it's one of those things.
I mean, he only served 5 years.
Yeah, and I mean, that also kind of ties into, I mean, he probably was a model inmate, you know, didn't really mess with anyone. But yeah, eventually the whole thing went into, you know, one of those things in history where it's like the first ever trial of possession, and then, you know, this kid got convicted of murder. I mean, I don't know. What do you think? Do you think he really was possessed, or?
I mean, a lot of people call the Warrens, you know, that it's just bullshit, you know, and they're just like, I don't know. I mean, when it comes to stuff like that, it's kind of like interesting because, I mean, do we really know? I mean, same thing with like aliens. Like, do we really know that that they exist or that this stuff happens? Can you really get possessed by a demon? I know the Vatican. I mean, the Vatican has their own like exorcist division, you know.
Yeah, and it's. I mean, apparently while this all was going down with the exorcisms with David and everything like that, you know, they kind of did talk to Arne, and they basically were like, hey man, like, definitely, you know, since you've already kind of challenged these demons to possess you and everything, you know, just kind of like be mindful and don't stir anything up. You know, it's told here that at some point before the murder happened, you know, Arne actually allegedly, you know, investigated a well in the same area where his fiance's brother claimed to first experience the encounter with a malicious presence, you know. So apparently there was some kind of well on the property where the little boy came in, you know, he was curious, you know. I mean, shit, if I see...
What little boy, David?
Yeah, David. You know, if I see a well in the property, like, shit, I'd be like, let me check it out.
The ring.
Yeah, well, you know, so the Warrens did tell Johnson, you know, they told Arne, hey, don't go near that same well, because obviously if that's where this boy first encountered this entity, you know, that might be where he resides, or some kind of contact point, you know, or something like that.
Like a portal.
Yeah. But, good old Arne, he said, fuck it. And he went and investigated anyway. I don't know what his thought process was at that point to go and, look at the well and everything like that. Arne did claim at a later time that he saw a demon hiding within that well. And that's the demon that he claims that possessed him until after the murder. Of course, the authorities did investigate everything that the Warrens had claimed and the whole haunting and the exorcisms and everything. But, at the end of the day, and as law enforcement, that's got to be a tough call.
Yeah, law enforcement, you deal with.
Yeah, you've got a dead guy and you've got people telling you, oh, well, it's because of.
Yeah, you do. Law enforcement, you deal with evidence, not something that you can't see or.
Yeah, exactly. You deal with the tangibles. You know what I mean? It's like dead guy, murder weapon, dude holding the murder weapon.
Yeah. Put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they kind of went with the whole. Yeah, there was an altercation between them, and
you got stabbed.
You got stabbed to death, and that's what happened. But yeah, the weird thing too is that the little boy David, has never come forward to really recount what happened. Which I would assume it's a little traumatic.
At this point, he after that, pretty sure he just wanted to erase this from his memory and just move on.
Yeah.
As normally as he could.
Yeah. Either way, it's pretty sad to see that 19-year-old, had his whole future ahead of him. He was trying to get married, hardworking man, from what people say, and all of a sudden, you're in jail because you murdered someone. You don't even. Damn.
So 5 years, huh?
Yeah.
That's all he served.
5 years.
Do you know if he's still alive?
I am not 100% sure. I do know that the book that was written back in 1983 detailing this whole thing, it made waves, obviously, but it wasn't until the book was reprinted in 2006 that Carl Glatzel, who is actually the older brother of David, decided to kind of start a whole lawsuit against the author and the Warrens, kind of just saying that it's damaging their construction business and just their reputation as a whole, So, I don't know. Like I said, the sister who actually ended up marrying Arne, she still maintains that all of this stuff went down. Like the possession and the, paranormal activity, all of that stuff. She still kind of says that, yeah, it happened. It was definitely there. And then you have, Big Brother Carl saying, no, that's not actually what happened. My little brother was just kind of ill. He had a learning disability. He had other psychological problems. And the Warrens basically exploited all of that. And are taking advantage of the situation.
Right. They were sued, right?
Yeah, they sued them back in 2006 when the book was re-released. And I can only imagine, now with everything like that, the movie coming out, and obviously their names are going to be involved again and stuff like that. I mean, I can only imagine there will be more lawsuits and stuff like that.
Yeah, because I mean, one of the Glatzel brothers in 2006 sued the Warrens.
Yeah, and that's when the book
claiming that it was just a phony story and they were just trying to get rich off of something that wasn't real. But then, I mean, then you have that sister sticking to the story of that all that really did happen.
Yeah, so
and I mean, they're two siblings. One of them's like, no, this is bullshit, and then Debbie, I guess is her name, is like, no, it really happened. What are you talking about?
Yeah, so I mean, it's a lot of hearsay and stuff like that. And I mean, what Carl is saying is that neither him or David gave their written consent or permission for their part of the story. I guess for their names and their story to be incorporated into this book. You know, so
I mean, so these guys, David and Arne, are probably still alive?
Yeah, I mean, more than likely.
That's just, I mean, if it really went down the way the Warren said, I mean, imagine having 42 demons inside of you. Like, that must be pretty hard.
Yeah, I mean, shit, being possessed by one demon or like a ghost or something, you know.
But do you think it comes down to like you believing in it? Like, say like people that don't believe in ghosts, like they'll never see a ghost. But then also it's like, what if they did see someone that was a ghost? They'll never know. Like, if you keep like feeding this stuff into yourself, like, do you know, like, but I mean, David was 11 years old. I mean, what could he possibly, was he watching too much? He's watching The Exorcist on like over and over, or?
I mean, I don't know.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of strange, you know. Like, I'm a believer. I know I've seen some shit in my day, like, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, we started recording right now, and we heard footsteps in the other room, and we're here alone.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know. Like,
I mean,
like said,
I'm not saying I don't. I guess I'm in between, because I mean, I've seen some stuff. Like I've told you before, I have a buddy that does paranormal stuff, and
yeah,
and I've gone with him, and it's, I mean, I guess it comes down to like, you don't believe it until you see it, I guess. But like, I mean, with the exorcism and all that, like, isn't it kind of strange that you don't hear about that a lot lately? Like, recent years, like,
yeah,
actual like possessions and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably got something to do with the church and everything, and how they like to keep things under wraps.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the Vatican is like keeping it.
Yeah, just kind of like
hush. Yeah, and it's.
I mean, yeah, definitely. I mean, if you guys know of any exorcisms or any recent cases that have, surfaced, or you've heard about them, definitely let us know in the comments.
I really want to know if these people are still alive.
I mean, I'm sure they are. I mean,
it wouldn't have been great
kid was 11 years old back in 81. I mean, I'm sure he's still alive and well, hopefully. You know?
I tried looking it up. I can't find anything. I'm pretty sure after all this went down, they just,
Yeah, fell off the face of the earth.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I understand that.
I would have loved to sit down with the Warrens, but, I mean, unfortunately, they're not here anymore.
Yeah.
But, I have a friend who is a paranormal investigator.
Yeah.
She recently purchased, I think this was right before Lorraine passed away. Lorraine used to make jewelry.
Mm-hmm.
And this friend I have, she has a paranormal investigation show now. And she purchased some jewelry that Lorraine Warren made. that's pretty cool. I mean, to own something that she made.
Yeah.
You know. And I mean, I get it why the family's upset. I mean, look at all the movies the Warrens have, stories that have turned into movies that the Warrens, were involved in.
Yeah, but I mean,
and these people aren't getting nothing out of it,
Yeah, but at the same time, I mean, it was their story as much as it was the Warrens.
Yeah, exactly. They could have done the same thing.
Maybe shit. I mean,
yeah, they could have written a movie contract,
marketing and shit. I don't know, but it's just one of those things.
During the exorcism, there was a chair that was moving, wasn't there?
Yeah. So there's an account from Ed Warren, in this interview that they did, and again, the link's gonna be. We're gonna go ahead and link that video.
The interview.
With the Warrens, it's an interview with the Warrens after this whole ordeal. There was like a rocking chair that he claims that started rocking violently, and actually, this other guy, what's his name, Zach
Bagans.
Bagans, yeah, he purchased it, and it's actually part of his museum in Las Vegas. So I mean, if you guys get a chance to go out to that museum, definitely check that out. That apparently, that rocking chair was part of this exorcism, and according to Zach, there definitely is something still attached to it. I mean, there's actually a clip. Remember, I showed you that clip with the guy from E.T.
The news guy.
Yeah, he like taunted the chair in some way, and like his back started hurting. Like apparently, like that was a thing with that rocking chair. Is like if you sit in it or sit near it or something like that, like your back, you just have like back spasms or like some kind of back problem. Yeah. Like we'll also link that video in the
on YouTube,
in the YouTube channel, so you guys can take a look at that. That's actually kind of, I mean, it's entertainment, so you never know really what's going on, but that guy looked really freaked out because his back really started hurting. According to him, his back started like locking up or whatever. He kind of freaks out. So I mean, definitely take a look at that. But yeah, I mean, I guess we'll never really know what happened. You know what I mean? With the whole possession and stuff like that, and if Arne really was possessed, and that's what actually made him murder this man at the end of the day, or if it was just one of those crimes of passion, you know what I mean? Maybe they were arguing over Arne's fiance. You get a couple of drinks in, and things start getting out of hand. I mean, words were exchanged, stuff like that. So, I mean, you just never know.
Yeah, I mean, and Zach from Ghost Adventures?
Yeah.
This guy buys, like, the craziest things.
Yeah, you know what? We're actually going to probably do a video or a podcast episode on that guy, because my boy is on some other shit. Like,
yeah, I mean, pretty sure everyone knows who Zach is from Ghost Adventures. I mean, this guy just, like, he wants things to happen,
Yeah, he's like out there like opening.
Demon
boxes,
like
and
Arne did. Like, leave this kid alone.
Yeah,
come into me.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, checking out his museum. His museum would probably be pretty cool.
Yeah, we should probably make it out there once this whole coronavirus thing is settled.
The tickets aren't that bad. I mean, for a museum, it's kind of pricey, but it's starting at $48 an hour, I think. I mean, $48. Sorry, not an hour, but $48 to enter, and it's 16 and over. So I mean, maybe this stuff is all real. And
yeah, I mean,
wasn't there a rapper or something that touched the divot box or something in his museum, and like bad shit just started happening to him?
Yeah, Post Malone.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, you know, one of those things where you don't want to, like I said, I believe in this stuff. Like, I wouldn't go and mess with, like...
I mean, even if you don't believe it, I mean, why would you run the risk of actually, you know, something happening to you by taunting this or making fun of it or...
Yeah. I mean, it's because a lot of people, you know, you have your skeptics out there and you're like, fuck it. Like, this ain't real. I'm gonna play with the Ouija board. I'm gonna touch the box you're not supposed to touch. I'm gonna do what I gotta do. Like, you know, because they don't believe in it. Right. And, you know, maybe you're right. I mean, it's like you're saying, maybe people that are believers kind of invite that stuff unknowingly because they believe in it, versus someone who's really like a skeptic, like, I don't believe in that stuff. And because they don't believe in it, it's kind of like they're not affected by it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I actually just looked up his museum and the chair, and he calls it the Devil's Rocking Chair exhibit. Yeah. And as of June of 2019, he closed that exhibit.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. After a series of visitors were dramatically affected, as was his own home.
Oh, wow. So, yeah, you see, I mean, and this guy's like hardcore. Like, this guy, I mean, he doesn't give a shit. Give a fuck about things.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. To close down that exhibit, you know, I mean, here it states that 6 people all shared the exact same disturbing, uncontrollable crying during the short time that he opened the exhibit.
Wow.
One of the guests even collapsed directly above the Devil's Rocking Chair.
Oh, wow.
On the stairs. So, I mean, for all we know, this stuff is 100% true.
Yeah, I mean, what do you guys think? Do you think this is all make-believe, or
the Warrens are just trying to get money?
I mean, and I don't even think, I mean, obviously the Warrens are gone now, but I mean, whoever controls their estate, maybe their daughter or whoever, you know. But I mean, that's actually, like, the way I see it, I mean, it's also their story to tell. And
right. Yeah, I mean, you lived it, you were there, then you should be able to talk about it or do whatever you want with your story.
Yeah, and I mean, I personally like the fact that they're, like, making movies out of it just because, like, shit. Like, yeah. It's part of history, like, if it really did happen and stuff like that, and there's a whole museum and artifacts, like...
Yeah, I mean, for Zach to close that exhibit, I mean, people are even claiming to have seen the beast sitting in the chair.
Oh, wow.
Well, some people actually sat in the chair.
Oh, yeah.
And they all experienced back pain.
What do you think? Do you think you'd go out there and touch the chair? Sit in it?
I don't know about sitting in. I mean, it doesn't matter at this point. I mean, I have back problems as it is. So hey, maybe you'll fix it.
Hey, fuck. Maybe it will fix it, man. You never fucking know.
According to this website, some of the people that sat on the chair, their pain was so excruciating that they actually needed surgery.
Oh, shit.
So, I mean, is it a coincidence? Like me that I have back problems, and I mean, I go sit on it, and maybe just the way I sat on it, get up, and I'm like, oh shit, I fucked it up even more. Now I need surgery, or is something really still haunting this thing? Because I mean,
you gotta be pretty shitty on, like, how, like, who's fucking up sitting down? Like, who's fucking that up?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Maybe that's why he closed it. He's like, fuck, I'm gonna, like, get sued.
Yeah, I'm gonna be paying everyone's medical bills, and
all these motherfuckers with scoliosis are sitting on my chair, and they're coming out saying that fucking devil made him have back problems. Yeah, probably that's probably why he closed it down. He doesn't want to get sued and shit.
Yeah. And then the story about his house after, I mean, I'm guessing this, I guess what he means is after purchasing the chair and putting it up at his museum, that
yeah, well, I mean,
at his home in Vegas.
Well, it's like, what's interesting about that is that the Warrens were also claiming that one of the priests, at least one of the priests, that was involved during the whole exorcism rites with David Glatzel, that he experienced some stuff happening to him after the whole ordeal. Like, back in his parish.
Right.
Like, it wasn't even at the house anymore. It wasn't even in that moment. Like, this priest experienced things happening to him after he left.
Right.
So, I mean, it very well might be, man.
Yeah, because Zach claims that after purchasing the chair, him and his friend were at his house, at Zach's house.
Right.
And that they both felt an evil presence move between them.
I mean, how the fuck you feel an evil presence, though?
I mean,
I don't know.
It even caused his dog to start growling at nothing.
Yeah.
And he states that he was actually really affected by it, and he began to speak strange things about God and Satan.
Oh shit.
And then that his friend began to cry, and they both ran out of the house. So that's when he decided to just close that exhibit down. I don't know where the chair is.
I mean, it's probably just there in the museum.
I mean, he paid a pretty penny for it. He paid $67,000 for this chair.
Jesus Christ.
Uh-huh. This was back in April of 2019, so... And the crazy thing is that he just happened to buy the chair just hours before Lorraine Warren passed away.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That's a crazy way to close her chapter, you know?
Yeah.
You know, something she was, like, involved in deeply, and then this psycho Zach goes and buys this chair for $67,000 just hours before she passed away.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. I mean, if you're a believer, if you're a non-believer, I mean,
yeah.
You'll never know until you actually, I guess, see something, you know.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I don't know. I'm a believer just because, you know, I've seen some shit.
Right.
So.
And I mean, we've all seen things that we're like, wait, did I really just see that, or is my mind playing tricks on me? And it's like, well,
and I mean, to be honest with you, man, like, even though I have seen some shit, like, anytime I hear a noise, like the noise that we heard right now, and you know, other things, I try to like explain it away. You know, it's like I don't automatically default to like, oh, it's a fucking ghost or something.
Right.
You know, it's probably something else. But I don't know, man. Like, sometimes you just see some shit, you hear some shit, and you're like, damn, like, I can't explain that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
It's just a really... I guess we'll just have to wait to see the movie, because, I mean, it's a really interesting exorcism story. You know, I mean, it's not only, like... Not only one person was supposedly possessed, but it was two.
Yeah, and I'm really interested in seeing how the whole movie is going to play out. Like, are they going to focus on the possession of the little boy?
Yeah, like, are they really going to...
That's kind of what they were involved in. Or
like, are they really going to go through it all?
Through the whole thing and the whole story.
Right.
And kind of go through the murder of this man and what happened to Arne and everything like that, you know, because, I mean, that's definitely part of the whole story.
I can't wait for the movie, so... I mean, we just gave you a little... We gave you the shortest version we could to not make this too long.
Yeah, definitely.
But, I mean, we're going to link some videos. I mean, we're going to link the Warren's interview about this case on the YouTube channel. And then we'll also link some of the Zach Bagans Museum stuff. We'll link it on there, and other articles about this case. I mean, it's an interesting one.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, I feel like every case that these people, the Warrens, have been involved in is definitely super interesting. You know, you've got the paranormal, you've got
demonic,
demons, and whatnot.
Like stuff you just can't explain. I mean, in their house, they kept all these artifacts that they would take away.
Yeah.
To protect the rest of us from, coming in contact with it. I mean, that's pretty hardcore of them to do something like that and actually have these artifacts in their home from all over the world of cases they've been to or things they just bought off of people, so we would be safer. I mean like the Annabelle doll. I mean, they kept it in a glass box and you can't even touch the glass.
Yeah, they even have a priest come and bless it every so often.
Yeah, when they go on tour with the doll, a priest comes and moves it with like these like gloves and puts it on a travel case. And the doll was actually here in El Paso at the art museum for a little while, and it was in the doll room. One of the art museums here has a doll room. And
that's a creepy ass.
It is a creepy room. If you're from El Paso or from around here, go to I think it's the International Art Museum. It's on Montana. Getting close to Mesa. The museum's pretty cool because they made the museum used to be a house of these rich people from back in the day, and
like these old colonial houses.
Yeah, and they have a doll room, doll hallway, and it's pretty freaky. But yeah, the doll was actually, that actual real Annabelle doll was here in El Paso for a little while on exhibit. I didn't get to go see it. This was a couple years ago. But I mean, the Warrens are just, they're just so famous for all the things they've been involved in, man. It's just, they've been around. They did their thing. Yeah. And you have crazy people like Zach Bagans buying things that were involved with them. I mean, just hours from Lorraine passing away, and it's just insane. And
yeah, I mean, definitely, like I said, I mean, what do you guys think? I mean, do you guys believe in all the paranormal? Do you guys think that this is real? There's a whole other spiritual world out there, and there's things that possess, demons and whatnot. I mean, do you guys believe in all that stuff, or do you guys think this is all just, basically, mental illnesses that these people
that are confused for
they're trying to make money off of them. At the end of the day, it's like, oh, this guy's a schizophrenic, but like, let's just throw on an exorcism or two and say that they're possessed.
And I mean, in case you guys don't know, it's really hard to have an exorcism done. The Vatican has to approve it, and it has to like really convince them that this person might be possessed. It's not just like, okay, they're possessed, go get the priest. Like, that's not how it happens. That's not how exorcisms happen. The Vatican is the one in charge of really saying, yeah, okay, go send an exorcist.
And you have to be a special kind of priest, right, for that?
Yeah,
like, not just any.
No, you have to be an exorcist, and
any priest can do it. You gotta like go through special training.
There's only a handful of priests that are certified for exorcism.
Yeah.
And the Vatican, they get the case. Like, the Warrens would send this case, and the Vatican would go through it all and see, like, okay, well, I mean, it really does sound like an exorcism. Let's go ahead and send someone. I mean, it's not just something that, your local priest can do,
Yeah. I mean, I kind of wonder who the Warrens of our generation are.
Right? I was just thinking that. Who's going to take over there?
Yeah, like, who's in charge of, like, hey, we need some shit investigated, or who's investigating stuff for the Vatican and stuff like that. Like,
hey, maybe Zach Bagans will become the next Warrens.
Maybe.
Well, he's pretty out there. He's buying $67,000 chairs. So, but I mean, this episode was kind of quick. I mean, with the information, I mean, there's Mostly the information you find is about the movie. We didn't really want to cover what the movie was in a cover because it's a movie. We tried looking for real facts.
Like the facts and what happened.
And there's really not a lot. I mean, there's a really good interview with the Warrens about this case, so we'll link that on there. And we also didn't want to bore you with tons of facts and stuff and trying to cram it into an hour-long video. But we'll link some of this stuff on there. Yeah. And if there's something you're interested or, anything, more exorcisms, aliens, serial killers, history, world history,
anything that you guys are
anything
interested
that
in,
you want us to really dig into and really find a lot of information on, just type it into the comments or message us on Instagram or Snapchat.
Yeah, we're going to go ahead and link up our social media accounts on there as well.
Yeah.
Let us know. I mean, we're here for you guys, so definitely thank you so much for joining us today. We're going to go ahead and say goodnight, and we'll see you on the next one. Yeah, definitely just let us know if there's anything else that you guys want us to cover, anything that if you guys have any kind of experience or anything like that with the paranormal or anything like that, definitely let us know. Hit us up, send us a DM. Tell us your experience, and
we'll sit down and record and interview you guys. I mean,
yeah,
we're trying to set up some interviews as we speak right now with anything. I mean, people that want to share something, like we'll sit down and interview you, anything from nurses, how COVID is affecting them, how it is in the workplace right now with all this crazy shit going on, all the way up to sex workers. Like, we'll interview anyone if you guys want your stories heard. Or it doesn't matter what story it is. It doesn't have nothing to do with what our channel's about. I mean, our channel's about anything. We're not trying to just stick to one topic or anything like that. Like, we're open to anything. I mean, we're both into different things. We're both into unsolved cases, paranormal, aliens, anything,
Yeah,
we'll cover anything, except like stuff like politics and stuff like that. That's just...
Yeah, we don't do no politicking.
Yeah. We do that on our own time between us and the way it should be. But yeah, if you want us to really dig into something that you've been interested in, just let us know and we'll look it up. But thanks again for joining us. Hope you like this little fast version of the Devil Made Me Do It case. Mm-hmm. And the movie should be coming out this summer.
Yeah. And we'll see you guys next week.
Yep. Stay safe.